What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Bailey Kramer, and in this video, I'm going to be walking you through how I earned a 46% cash-on-cash return on a midterm rental. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can do the same. I'm also going to be sharing all of the details. I'm not going to be holding anything back. I'm going to be showing you how I found the property, how I picked the market, how I got financing, how much the property costs, and I'm even going to show you my bank account to literally show you these numbers. So stay tuned for that. Another thing to note is I bought this property sight unseen. Prior to actually purchasing the property, I didn't know a single person in the market. I didn't talk to anyone who knew anything about the market. It was completely sight unseen. I had zero connection to the market, and I didn't even see the property in person until a year after I bought it when I happened to be close to the area. So I figured I'd stop by and just take a picture of the outside. That's the picture you see here. But just know I did this completely sight unseen. So you can do it too. So let's talk about how I found the market. So there's some backstory to this. Back in 2021, I was co-hosting properties in 5 different states. So I had North Carolina, South Carolina, Kansas, Illinois, and Indiana. And because of this, I had the beauty of seeing how different properties performed. I had properties that were near lakes, near golf courses, some properties in just random towns. So I had a really good insight as to which properties were performing the best and which properties I would eventually want to buy. And I was completely shocked to see that the properties that I was running in these kind of random Midwest towns were performing the best. And just for clarification, when I say the best, the revenue they were bringing in compared to the purchase price was a lot more favorable than the revenue that the other properties were bringing in compared to their purchase prices. So the investor that I was co-hosting for, and I'm still co-hosting for him, he bought these properties in this random Midwest town for $65,000. Now, just a disclaimer, because everyone's like, oh, Bailey, $65,000. Yes, now they're worth more like $100,000 to $115,000, but the numbers work really well still. So just hear me out on this one. But yeah, he bought them for roughly $65,000. And he said, hey, Bailey, I have these as long-term rentals. Let's try to see what these would do as short-term rentals. So he gave me one property. We put it up on Airbnb, furnished it up, and it was bringing in roughly $2,500 per month as a furnished rental. Owner was loving it, and he said, all right, Bailey, here's another long-term rental. Let's turn it into a short-term rental, and let's see how it does. That one worked. That one was bringing in, again, roughly $2,500 a month. So he gave me a third property, and he said, Bailey, put this one on Airbnb, and that one was also generating roughly $2,500 per month. So once we had these 3 up and running, I was like, okay, these properties are performing crazy good. It's now time for me to buy a property and get these crazy returns too. But there was a plot twist. I was looking for houses in this area in the same exact city, but I couldn't find any properties that were phenomenal deals. So what I did is I said, okay, what are these cities' characteristics? What's the population? What are the home prices? What's the city growth? And I found a city that was almost identical in those characteristics about an hour and a half away. So I began searching in both markets. I had 2 markets that I was searching in. This one market that I had 3 properties I was co-hosting in, and this other market an hour and a half away that I've never been to in my entire life. And then I began searching for properties on Zillow. And I wrote Zillow because it's easier to say, but I actually used Redfin. I like it way better. But that's where I was just looking for properties for sale. Now, here's a quick pro tip to know what the best area is to buy a property in any market. If you're like, hey, I want to buy in this general area, but I've never been there before. I don't know where the good locations are. This is how you do it. Literally go on Airbnb and look at the existing Airbnbs in that area. All you have to do is read the existing properties that are already on Airbnb, read their reviews, and read what people are saying about the location. The reviews don't lie. So if you see 5 Airbnbs in one neighborhood and they all say great things about the neighborhood, chances are that neighborhood is a good spot. If you find another neighborhood where a bunch of different properties talk about the location being terrible and sketchy, then don't buy in that neighborhood. Okay, just a pro tip for you guys. So after doing this, I figured out exactly what neighborhood I wanted to invest in this, again, this town that I have no correlation to. What I did is I checked Redfin every day, multiple times per day, and I honestly still do this. I'm obsessed with it. And I called the listing agent of every property I was interested in. And again, I still do this to today. So I find a property, and what I do is I call agent up, just to get more information about it, see if they can share any details about the property. On one specific property, I called a realtor for the property that was listed, and I told him that my intention for the property was to turn it into an Airbnb. I told him how I have some experience a little elsewhere, and I was completely shocked because he actually told me that the property is already an Airbnb. The current owner who's selling the property was running it as an Airbnb. So I was completely shocked. And I said, can you send me the revenue numbers, how much money they're making from Airbnb and whatever? And he sent me over the numbers, and he was making roughly $25,000 per year gross revenue. And I was confident that I could run the property better than the previous owner. I just felt confident with it from my experience. And what I also did is I negotiated the purchase price. So the property was listed for $125,000. I negotiated it down to $115,000, and I made sure the furniture was included. So $115,000 purchase price, and all the furniture was included. So here's how the numbers broke down. The purchase price was $115,000. The down payment, I did put a 30% down payment. This is because I used a DSCR loan. I didn't have a great credit score. I didn't have 2 years tax returns. I didn't have any of that stuff. And at this time, this is what everyone was saying was the worst time to buy. People, oh my God, I can't believe you're buying a house right now. The interest rate, this, that. This was the scariest time to buy, which is why the down payment number was also so high. I was just more risky to the lender. The interest rate was 8.5%, and the mortgage came out to $762 per month. So how the property actually performed, that's really all that matters. So I closed on this property on October 20th, 2022. And what I want to do is I want to show you my bank account and the bookkeeping software I use to show you how the property performed. Instead of just telling you the numbers, I want to show you the numbers. All right, so what we're in right now is the software I use called Baselane. I do have an affiliate link down below. You don't have to use them. You can use them if you want. I'd use them personally. They are a online banking platform and also a bookkeeping platform built in, and it's completely free. I have a whole video on Baselane and why I love them. You can check that out after this one, but let me show you the numbers. So I told you that closed on October 20th, 2022, but we didn't get our first guest in there until November 5th. Okay. So November 5th was when our first guest stayed. So I made these parameters from November 5th, 2022 to November 5th, 2023. All right. And in that time period, you can see that the net cash flow was $18,203. The total gross income was $35,000. And then the expenses were $17,205. Now, yes, these are cool, fancy numbers, but let me actually show you the cash flow statement to show you how this actually broke down. All right. So you can see here in November 2022, the property brought in $2,000. Then in December, $2,000, January, $3,000. And also note that these months right here, these were just kind of weekend stays, week-long stays here and there, people visiting, holidays, construction crews, just kind of small stays there. And then February, $4,800, March, $598. Now, just one thing to note, because it's misleading here, I didn't necessarily earn $4,800 in February and then drop to $598 in March. It's just the way that the payouts were actually paid out. So these months were pretty even. Essentially what happened is this big February number is actually part of March's stay. I just got paid in February for it, which is why the numbers look funky like that. So it really averaged out to be roughly $2,700 in February, and then the same roughly $2,700 in March. Okay. And then April, you can see $2,650, May, $3,266. In June, again, same thing. It wasn't $5,300 in June and then nothing in July. It was split between about $2,500, $2,600 in June, and then the same $2,600 roughly in July. And in this period, we actually had a traveling construction crew. So traveling construction crew to the property, that was cool. And then if we keep going here, you're going to see the same thing for August and September. It wasn't $5,600 and then zero. It was $2,800, $2,800. And this $2,800, why it's a perfect even number like that, is because an insurance company actually rented the property. And they rented it all the way until now mid-January of 2024. Those numbers are not included in here. Just wanted to throw that out there, that this insurance company rented from August to June for $2,800. And they just prepaid 2 months. That's why you see a zero here and you see double here. Okay. So that's the revenue, $3,500 for this property in the first year. And a majority of that was also direct booking. That was also a huge bonus. And then if we scroll down to the operating expenses, you'll see cleaning. You'll see some sporadic cleaning here because, again, we did have guests stay for quite a while. So that was some cleaning, and maintenance is also included in there. Utilities, those averaged around $250-ish per month. That's water, that's gas, electric, and I also included Wi-Fi, internet in there as well. So that's what that comes out to. Knock on wood, supplies and repairs were pretty low. So the expenses came out to $8,813 for the year. Now, if you keep going down, you're going to see that does not include my mortgage expense. So I told you before, my mortgage is $763 per month. So that's what was taken out. Now, when you close on a property, they don't start the mortgage payments right away. There's usually a month or so delay. So that's what happened here. They didn't actually charge me until January 1st, 2023. So I got 2 months for free, but it's not actually free because they just tack it in at the end. But that's what you're seeing here. So the mortgage was $8,392. That's basically what the expenses were for the property, which leaves me a net operating cash flow of $18,203 for the year, which is pretty awesome because I showed you before that my down payment was $34,500. Plus I have a few $1,000s of closing costs. So I earned roughly a 46% cash on cash return on this property in year one. This year is going to be, hopefully, knock on wood, even better than last year. I'm now getting $3,500 per month in rent, whereas before I averaged roughly $2,500 to $2,800 per month. I'm now averaging $3,500 per month. That should juice the returns up a little bit and hopefully get me some more cash flow. If you guys have any questions related to this property or midterm rentals in general, please leave them below. And if you found value out of this video, my only ask is that you send this to someone that you think would get value out of it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.